Grumpkin. It's lawnmower day. Take a look. Well, that's my lawnmower. And let's see here. It won't start. So I already changed this. I'm still going to show you how to change it. That's the carburetor, and I'm going to show you why I changed it. Now, there's no spark. So I'm going to have to get into this, and I'm going to have to change the coil. And since I'm going to have to change the coil, that means all this has to come off. It's not as hard as you think. So as I walk you through it, we'll get going. I'm going to change angles, and we'll go from there. Okay, stay tuned. Now I've got this thing up on jack stand, so I don't have to pitch the camera too far down. Here's the coil pack right here. I'm going to change the coil pack. So first thing I'm going to do is take off this lid right here, which requires a 6mm on this lawnmower. Not every lawnmower has the same cap and the same way to take it off. So all I'm going to do is just take this one bolt off. Some of them have two, some of them have just one. But when you take this cover off, all this is just a dust cover. So you really don't have to worry too much about it. There's really not a lot hooked up to it. On this particular mower, this is a Chriftsman mower. So see, comes right up, there's nothing there. Let me give you a better shot of this thing. So it's just a cover, so put that aside. Don't lose the screw. Next, what we're going to do to get to the coil is right in here. So we're going to have to remove this cap. So we're going to have to take the gas tank off, and then we're going to remove this shield. So you really don't want to mess with the rewinder. So that'll be next. I'm going to take the gas tank off, and before you take the gas tank off, there's a fuel line down here. Let me get around here and show you. Excuse the habitual movements, but right down here, here's the gas tank. Right down here is the fuel line. You want to pinch that off. I'm going to take some fuel line pliers and pinch that line off. When I pinch that line off, right there, that's the line I'm going to pinch off. When I pinch that line off, no fuel will go through, and we'll be in good shape. So I'll be right back as soon as that fuel line, or the fuel tank is off. Got the fuel line pliers here, and pinched off the fuel line, took it away from the carburetor. Now I'm just going to go ahead. That way you don't have to empty the fuel tank. If you don't have fuel line pliers, the best thing to do is empty the fuel tank. So our next step is this. On this particular one, there's 4 of these bolts around it. So what I'm going to do is take those 4 bolts up and lift it straight up. Go from there, okay? As soon as I do that, now that I've taken, let me see if I can get you a better shot. Now I've taken, okay, now I've gotten you a better shot here. The cap is off, sitting back here. I just lifted straight up. I didn't take the rewinder off because that's a pain in the ass to put back on if you unrewind it. But here is the coil right here. There's 2 bolts holding it on. Here's a wire connector. It looks like the new coils, it may be long enough, but as you see, there's one connection going to it and one going to the spark plug. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out the 2 screws that go to the top of it, and let me find my other nut driver. It's not metric. Seems like they always mix these things around, but anyway, it looks like it's a Torx. So let me get a Torx. Alrighty, I got the bolts out right now. There was only 2 of them, and when you take those bolts off, You make sure you're unplugged from the spark plug, and there is one connector on the bottom on most. Sometimes you get two for ground, but there's most of the time there's only one, and then it comes straight up. Okay, you see the bridge that it mounts on, and that's the bad coil right there. Now on your pickup here, you're going to see a lot of rust in general. So what I do, I take a real light sanding cloth and I'll clean the face of it up. Now you have one on the opposite side too. You don't want to sand it down, you just want to clean it up. If you have emery cloth, use that as well. But try that, and then as soon as I clean both sides up, I'll come right back and I'll show you the installation. Okay, now we're getting ready to assemble. I cleaned the face of this off, so it's clean. The magnet sits right in there, so everything's clean. Your connection, I like to take a little wire brush and make sure I clean all the goop out of the connection there, you know, your little plug in there. And then I like to add just a dab of dielectric grease. Dielectric grease, you can pretty much get at any auto parts store, even Walmart and Target, carrying it now. And what it does is it adds a little bit of connection and protection for your any electrical connector. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that back up. Make sure it's not touching that bar there, because you don't want that happening. Kind of rub the wire brush over here a little bit and make sure it's got a good, this is where it's going to ground as well too, so make sure that's grounding really good. It's going to want to make a good solid connection there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the two bolts back in, and then we're going to do an adjustment on this, because you've got, right now it's pulling against it. You know, you could feel the tug, and you don't want that. So you want it to be able to have a certain distance away from it, and there is a spec. So what we'll do is, as soon as I get the bolt started, I'll come right back and I'll show you, okay, how to do it. I got the bolt started back up again, and what I did is I doubled up on the sandpaper that I had, because it's fairly thick sandpaper. You don't want to get it too thick, but I'm looking at like about maybe, you know, 30 seconds on this thing, but it's not too far away and it's not too close to where it's going to hit. So I'm going to tighten these bolts up, and then I'm going to pull the sandpaper away and see if it rotates nice. And I see a nice clean gap on both sides, so we're not actually hitting anything besides the jack stands underneath. So there you have it. So as you can see, all they did was just double up on this sandpaper, that thick. That's the regular stuff, and like I said, that's about the thickness right there, and all they did was just double up on it. And there is a spec for it. I don't know if that's on top. There's a spec there. You could find it online. I think it said it was like 10-30 seconds or something like that, but just to eyeball it, it's like taking two matchbook covers and putting them together and putting it right in there. It's like the old, when you, the old school points. That's the way they used to do old school points. Okay, then you just plug your spark plug back in, and now it's time to reassemble and put everything back together. So now I'm going to take the winder and cap, and I'm going to put it back together where it belongs, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to reassemble it all and put it back in. I'll see what we got. Okay, there is a couple things I want to mention before we wrap this bad boy up. It's back together now. As you can see, coil's back. Right there is some information about what this vehicle is, and then there's also a data plate back here. Before you order your parts, you're going to need information off the data plate. It gives you the model and the serial number. So, and then on this particular one, what I forgot to tell you is on the bottom there, before we took off this cap here, this part here, I had to take off the oil tube. So that bolt right down there is it was an 8. I took it off and the whole tube came out. So a little bit of oil splashed out. So I'm going to double check the oil and then we'll get this bad boy started. Okay, we're going to push the fuel pin 3 times and give her a pull, see what happens. Right off the bat. So, if you're having problems with your lawnmower, you can go to eBay, you can go to Amazon, you can go to the manufacturer of your lawnmower and buy parts. You just need that serial number or the model number of your lawnmower, and you can go ahead and do it yourself. If you have a problem with it, just hit me up on email at thegrandpakinshow@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to make a tutorial for you and get you set up. It's Grandpa Ken. I'm out.